Barak Tehawa, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Chakadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Rise and Fall of Empires. And pretty much this lesson is inspired by a video that was sent to me a couple of days ago by Elder Apostle Tahar. And there's this video you see right here. It's from a site called Uncivilized, How Empires Fall and Why the U.S. is Next. And I put this video in the description box. So if you want to check it out, it's not that long. It's a little less than 16 minutes long, but it's power packed with a lot of info. And she goes into three main causes for the fall of an empire, and America being next because they're following that same trajectory. And number one was internal decay. Number two was loss of soft power. And loss of soft power. And number three was loss of hard power. And pretty much internal decay is pretty much self-explanatory. It's to collapse from within. You had the elites and you had the commoners, and the elite were living it up while the commoners were catching hell, eating the worst of everything, living in the worst places, having the worst diseases and everything. Then you had, the elite were tax exempt. And if they weren't tax exempt, they had a lot of loopholes on how to get around the taxation system. Just like when Trump was, they tried to bring him up on charges of not paying taxes. He said, pretty much he said there's loopholes, and he knows how to use the loopholes, and he uses them, pretty much. So then you had heavy taxation upon the poor, while the rich or the elite had loopholes to get around paying taxes. Let me see. Right, and then you had what they call in America, so-called Babylon the Great, they call it the American Dream, which was pretty much centered around the middle class. All right, and just like in other empires, the middle class was always squeezed out because the middle class had enough to where they weren't poor, but they didn't have enough to be rich, but they were somewhat self-sufficient. So they squeezed them out of the way so that they could only have two classes. And that would be the rich and the poor, Let's see. All right, so the part with the loss of soft power, the soft power is she explained it in this, because she'll say a few words and then she'll show clips from the Roman Empire and different individuals speaking about certain points. But the loss of soft power is pretty much the power of persuasion and not coercion, meaning the certain empires were more successful than others because they had the ability to persuade and have a particular nation be under their wing voluntarily, instead of coercing them and mandating them, And eventually, certain empires, just like America, is losing that ability of that soft power, or the ability for people to believe in them, because they see in that believing in America is leading them pretty much further and further into destruction. And I want to just bring out this one precept. It's either Jeremiah 50 or 51. Just bear with me. Jeremiah 50 and 38. Nope, that's not it. So it's the next chapter over. All right. All right. Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And pretty much America, which is Babylon the Great, have made the earth drunken. By what? By accepting her ways, her philosophies, her seductive ways. And they drank it, they became drunk off of it. Right? The nations have drunken of wine, therefore the nations are mad, meaning they're bugged out and they're also mad. So they're losing that coercive power, because one thing that that the harlot had, the ability that she had, was to seduce men, especially a mistress, one that was a master at harlotry. And as Revelation 17, it said that John, he looked at this woman with great admiration, and that's what America is painted as a beautiful woman that has a very seductive and alluring spirit, and she'll have you into her spell. And once you get in there, you can't escape. And by the time you find out that you're in a quagmire or in quicksand, it's too late. So that's why America is slowly but surely losing that power, that persuasive power, right? And then it says the number 3 reason for it to demise or fall was the loss of hard power. And the loss of hard power was through coercion, through wars, and through threatenings, and through being a bully or being a hegemony, And that power is slowly being lost. Why? Because the nations are, they are, matter of fact, the lost power, right? Loss of soft power. Got a precept here that I wrote down yesterday. Let's go to Isaiah 14, and then we'll get into the other one. Isaiah 14 and 9. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming, meaning you're going to come down from your lofty position. It stirreth up the dead for thee. Who are the dead? The other nations, because once you took power, the Edomites, you became the head of everything, and everybody else underneath you was more insignificant. So they were like dead, Even all the chief ones of the earth, meaning the nations and their rulers, it hath raised up from the thrones all the kings of the nations. So these kings of the nations are starting to raise up pretty much against you. And this is what they're saying. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? So that power that you had, that persuasive power that you have it no longer, because you had the soft power, you had the hard power, right? Now the soft power, when that didn't work, they brought in the hard power. So they lost the power of persuasion, so they had to rely more on the power of their military, right? Art thou become like unto us? So they pretty much started to dwindle, which leads to the third effect, which is the loss of hard power, which is their military might, or the power of coercion over the power of persuasion, or the power to force someone over the power to have them do it voluntarily. All right. And I got another precept for that. Jeremiah, it's either 50 or 51. These are long chapters, so it's kind of hard sometimes to forget or to remember. All right, here we go. Jeremiah 50:22. A sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. This is what's coming. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon broken? I'm sorry, how has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Right. So the hammer of the whole earth is cut asunder and broken. And remember, let's get this one real quick, which we were in. Let me see if I go back, if I can get it this way. There we go. We go forward. Get rid of that. Isaiah 14, and 5. The Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai had broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Why? Because it is prophecy. And really, when you have these pundits and these different experts speaking on the rise and fall of empires and the economic, reasons and the internal strife and the military loss of power and loss of foothold in certain regions that they held at one time. One thing they never ever speak about or contribute to the fall of these empires is one word: prophecy. Prophecy. They never equate it to prophecy. And that is the number one, reason why these empires fall is because of prophecy. All right. So before we get into it, I've typed in rise and fall of empires meaning. It says the rise and fall of empires is a recurring theme in human history. Empires rise through conquest, innovation, and strong leadership, which you had when America took over this country and over the world. But fall due to internal strife, which we see happening, economic troubles, and external threats. It could be external threats economically, militarily, so on and so forth. But those are the two major ones. All right. It says this pattern has shaped human history through cycles of ascension and decline, rising and falling. And that's why right now we're at the waning years or the fall of empires due to what? Prophecy. Now, when we go to Psalms 75, we're going to read the whole chapter. It's only 10 verses long. It says, the Most High abases the proud, but exalts the righteous. And that's why it says, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. And that's what we're looking for. So Psalm 75 and 1, unto thee, O Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, our power, do we give thanks. Unto thee do we give thanks, for that thy name is near, thy wondrous works declare. And this is the reason why it's important to exalt those names, because when this whole shithole goes down in flames, which it will eventually, the Lord's name is what's going to be exalted for, or being given the credit for all of this that's happening. The world is going to find out once and for all what is the true name of the Heavenly Father and his Son. When I shall receive the congregation, I will judge uprightly. See? So it's imperative to judge the congregation uprightly, to judge the people right. It says when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn. But when the righteous beareth rule, the people rejoice pretty much. It says the earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. Why? Because all empires are going to fall underneath Yahushai when he comes back. I bear up the pillars of it, Selah. I said unto fools, deal not foolishly, right? Because you have fools that rule, and the Lord said, deal not foolishly. And to the wicked, lift not up the horn. Now, horn in the Bible, sometimes it'll represent an actual horn of an animal. It'll represent the ram's horn, the shofar or the shawapar, and sometimes it represents power. In this case, it's representing power because it's dealing with empires and them ruling. So the Lord is telling the wicked, lift not up your horn on high. Don't lift your power on high. Don't brag. Don't be braggadocious, popping off because you have the power. Because who gave you that power? Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth it? Speak not with a what? Stiff neck. That pride. And that's why it says the pride of thine heart has deceived thee. Because you thought that you conquered the world on your own merits. You thought that it was you and your military strategies and skills that got you the kingdom. No, one thing got you the kingdom: prophecy that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai said would happen. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. So being promoted to empire status doesn't come from anywhere on the planet Earth. People don't, they don't sit there and cast lots for it. They don't sit there and, you know, um, you know, bargain for it. You can't buy it. It says, but the Most High is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. So the reason why empires fall, rise and fall is because the Most High sets one up, casts another one down. And that's what we're witnessing right now. The final demise of this empire. And all empires that ever ruled, once they got up into that empire status, they never thought they would fall. At one time it was thought lunacy and madness, for any nation out there to fight against the Persian Empire. They were the mightiest, strongest, biggest, on the planet. But the Greeks, with Alexander the Great, or the Greek, or the creep, or the freak, they were able to take them down because of prophecy. It says, for in the hand of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem El Shai, there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and he poureth out of the same. This is the destruction. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. But I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the power of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked, meaning all of your powers. All right, remember, you had 7 major empires that ruled, and then you have your allies that rule with you. Also will I cut off, all of them. But the horns of the righteous, or the power of the righteous, shall be exalted. And this is what we're waiting for. Yahweh's kingdom to be established. So when we go to Daniel the 7th chapter, Daniel the 7th chapter is a blueprint of kingdoms that will rise and fall until Yahweh took his place, rightful place, on the throne, above all of these nations, and all of these nations being under his power, under his rule, under his thumb. So Daniel 7:9 says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down. What is this talking about? When you read up above that, it's talking about different empires that would rule prior to this vision here being fulfilled. And we're coming to this point now. We're witnessing the last heathen rulership collapsing and about to fall, which is governed by the Edomites. And the Ancient of Days did sit. The Ancient of Days is the Most High, Yahweh, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. He had a white woolly afro. So you can understand. It doesn't say that that the hair was white, even though we know it was. It's not speaking about being white, because as Elder Pastor mentioned before, or pointed out before, you have different color wool. So it's not talking about the color, it's talking about the texture. And the people that have the texture of hair as wool are the so-called Negroes. It says his throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. So in this vision, Daniel witnessed the fall of empires, right? A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him, which is the lasers. Thousands ministered unto him, which are the angels, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set and the books were open, because there's going to come a time when these judgments start playing out on the earth. That's the books being open. And that's what we're witnessing today. That's why first part of the total devastation and destruction of Esau was what? To be revealed. And that's what he's done through the mouth of his prophets. And now we're at the point now where those words that have gone out, which don't go out void, are taking effect and causing this empire to crumble. It says, I beheld them because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. Now, this great horn and the words which he spake, this is dealing with America. Because although it doesn't go specific into detail in Daniel 7, of the fourth beast or fourth empire falling and then rising back up, when we get to Revelation 13, it goes into it further. Where there was this particular beast that was around during the time of when the Apostle John was having that vision, and that was actually the last year that the Edomite empire of Esau ruled. It was still pagan when Jake took over, but that was the last year for the Edomite rulership. It said that beast or that head received a deadly wound, and it was wounded for a period of 1,000 years, a little more than 1,000 years, and then it came back into power. And when it came back into power, all of those same nations, the Edomite nations, were spread out to what they call Europe, and then eventually America came out of Britain and out of that whole union of those seven empires to where you see America today, right? That's how the deadly wound was healed. Because when America was established, it took on, or it was a continuation of the ancient Edomite Roman Empire. So you could understand. I beheld even till the beast was slain. See, that's America. And his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. It says, as concerning the rest of the beasts, meaning the other nations, they had their dominion taken away because they are going to go into captivity. Yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. The only neighbor of the Israelites that was not promised any form of mercy from the Most High Yahweh is the nation of Israel. I'm sorry, that's a slip of the tongue. Satan is the nation of Edom. That was a slip of the tongue, one that slipped through his mouth, but not from his heart. That's the nation of Edom that was not given any form of mercy from the Most High. And that's exactly what's going to happen to them. All right. Now, the Son of Man presented. I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, or the chariots, and came to the Ancient of Days, Yahweh, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So once Yahushua comes back, he's taking all these empires down. Now, any of these scholars know, any serious ones anyway, because you have others that break down Daniel 7 totally wrong, but a lot of them agree that the four beasts in the book of Daniel were the Syro-Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greeks, and the Romans. The Roman Empire fell, which is the fourth one. So why didn't Yahushua's kingdom come yet? Because that little horn hadn't been manifested yet. We're in the time of the little horn. And the little horn in Daniel 7 is different from the little horn in Daniel 8. So get it right, troop. All right. So we're witnessing now the fall of this last empire of America. And all the signs are there. And they're constantly comparing the decay and the falling apart of the American empire to the Roman Empire, following all the same, patterns, because America, when it was established like ancient Rome. All right, so Ecclesiastes 10:1, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. So a judge has that power. A judge, a king, has the power to do the right thing. And in the case of Esau, he is the wicked. He has the book of instructions, but he can't follow those instructions because it's not embedded within his spirit. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And that's why you see a corrupt society, empire that was established, cannot be judged by righteous leaders, because the ones that set it up are evil. They're wicked. That's why Sonny Bono, which was a singer, he became a senator or something like that. he was really sincere about trying to make things right, but he quickly found out that he was dealing with a corrupt system, and when he tried to correct certain things, they took him out. And that happens time and time again. Any leader that grows a conscience or that wants to do the right thing, eventually they get taken out because this society is run by wicked rulers. Says, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. And that's why the majority of people today in America are so corrupt, because this is a corrupt society. And the world is seeing the crumbling of the so-called, for lack of better words, benevolence, the crumbling of that fake pious, fake righteous, society that the world has been led to believe. They're starting to see behind the cheap veneer that's cracking. All right. It says, an unwise king destroyeth his people. And that's why you see America crumbling. And one of the signs of America crumbling is their crumbling infrastructure falling apart, which is the worm being spread under her. Why? Because the empire didn't rise in one night. It's definitely not going to go down in one night, but there will be signs of it crumbling. And we see it collapsing. And the falling apart of the infrastructure of America, buildings and bridges and streets and all of that, highways, is indicative of the crumbling of America in general. But through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. Right. So if the rulers are prudent, meaning wise, the people will be wise, and the society will be prosperous. But if the rulers are corrupt, the society is going to be corrupt. The people are going to be aggravated, upset. They're not going to be. It's going to come a point where they're going to rebel against the modern system. And that's why it speaks about, them coming against this place and not giving heed to their leaders, to the authority of this so-called American empire. Because they see that when you agree with them and you do what you're supposed to do, you always get kicked in the ass. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. Yeah, because Yahushua is coming. He's next. All right. In the hand of the Most High is prosperity, is the prosperity of man, and upon the person of the scribe shall he lay his honor. Now let's jump to the 8th verse. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, which is everything that America's done, which is being run by the small hats, because they're the biggest crooks and criminals on the planet. The kingdom is translated from one people to another. So that's why you see the kingdom about to be translated. But in the ancient times, kingdoms were translated from one empire to the next. And this time, all the empires are going to be translated to this dear son, the beloved son of the Most High Yahweh, whose name is Yahushai. All right. It says, why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. For such an one set his own soul to sail, because while he liveth, he casteth away his bowels. Right, because he doesn't care about nothing else but himself and his greed. All right. Shit, the 2021, they got a C minus. Shit, they used to be a D minus. The bottom end of average, but out of the D range for the first time in 20 years. Well, you do see a lot of construction going on. So yeah, they might have so-called upgraded a little bit, right? But guess what? It's causing more problems for the people that are on the roads, because it's causing a lot of slow up, a lot of bottlenecks, Let's see. The physician cutteth away. The physician cutteth off a long disease, and he that is today a king, tomorrow shall die. There was another part in here. Let's see. Okay. 14. The Lord hath cast down the thrones of proud princes and set up the meek in their stead. And that's what we're witnessing right now. The Lord hath plucked up the roots of the proud nations. See, I beheld till the thrones are cast down, and planted the lowly in their place. This is the Israelites, beginning with Yahushai. The Lord overthrew countries of the heathen and destroyed them to the foundation of the earth. He took some of them away and destroyed them, and hath made their memorial to cease from the earth. Right, because the nations will still be around, but their prestige, so to speak, that exalted position, their rulership position is going to be snatched away. They're going to be slaves. As it says in Obadiah, they shall be as though they had not been. Because a slave doesn't have any rights, as far as, ownership is concerned. Pride was not made for men, nor furious anger for them that are born of woman. 21. The fear of the Lord goeth before the obtaining of authority, but roughness and pride is a losing thereof. Whether he be rich, noble, or poor, their glory is in the fear of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, so that's that on that. Romans 13:1, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of the Most High. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High, right? Because the Most High is the sovereign Lord, and he sets up certain empires, and you can't take that empire down. The Lord has to take it down. Whosoever therefore resisted the power or tries to fight against it, resisted the ordinance of the Most High, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. All right. And you could read the book of Wisdom of Solomon 6. I got it, here lined up. But I read this last part. It says, verse 24, but the multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world, and a wise king is the upholding of the people. Right? And we know that Esau is not wise. Now, this applies really to Jake, but you could apply certain principles of this to Esau. All right? Because Esau, is not ruling right. And on top of that, he's not going to learn righteousness. He was not created to learn righteousness. It was not embedded in him to receive the righteous instructions of the scriptures. That's why it says, let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly. So that's why you see the fall of empires. So the rise and fall of empires we're witnessing it right now, and we're witnessing the final end of these heathen empires. Let me leave you with this scripture here in Luke. And this is why the land of Israel is still being inhabited by heathens. Luke 21:24, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword. This happened to Jake back in 70 AD, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem, the land, shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, the actual nations, until the time of the Gentiles be what? Fulfilled, meaning until they fulfill their time on the earth. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months of a deed, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. All right. So empires rise and fall because of prophecy. And we're witnessing the demise of the Babylon the Great, or the Babylonian Empire, the modern Babylonian Empire, Babylon the Great, which is America. We're witnessing their total demise. And the closer we get to the end, the quicker they're going to fall. I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.